Hello, welcome back to Call Clutter Fairy, where I help you get clutter-free so that you can live stress-free. I wanted to follow up on a video that you all really responded well to, and that was organizing with chronic pain. This topic is really near and dear to my heart. Number one, because I suffered with pain for a long time. And so I can really empathize with those of you who have to struggle through every day just to get through the normal things. But the flip side of that, and it's something I still struggle with, is depression. There's no magic pill for it. I have tried many things. But one of the things that I forget about is how great I feel when I craft. When I was a little girl, I would lose myself in coloring, or I would make things, and for that little time, there was nothing else in the world except my imagination and the thing I was creating. And I would always finish feeling so wonderful. Well, as an adult, I know that there's dopamine and it gets released, and serotonin. So science is finally figuring out how much crafting can help people who suffer from anxiety, depression, and chronic pain. As you're doing these activities that bring you to a tranquil place and make you happy, dopamine is constantly being released, which helps you feel better. It's not going to be a long-term fix, but let's face it, if you're truly suffering on a constant basis, even if you can only do it a couple of times a week, having that relief is going to be life-changing. So let's explore some of these non-medicinal ways that we can get that brain chemical making you feel better and give you something you can enjoy. Coloring is actually so therapeutic. They have a lot of grown-up coloring books now, and research has shown that these books, especially those with this mandala design, are actually meditative and can reduce stress and the perception of pain. Crocheting is very much like knitting, except I think it's an easier technique, and there's a lot less detail in the specific steps to go with it. So crocheting may be a pain-friendlier option for you. Macrame is really popular again, and what a fun technique. No tools are required. It's really just made by a sequence and series of knots. And there's so many patterns out there that range from super easy to incredibly intricate. Cross-stitching is one of the first ones that I came across. Now, they have a lot of different patterns, a lot of different levels for skills, but this is one of those hobbies that really doesn't require a lot of experience. So this may be harder if you have severe arthritis, but cross-stitch can really help keep those hands and fingers flexible and mobile. And it's definitely something that you can get super creative with. Knitting is something I've always been really interested in, but I gotta tell ya, I can't seem to pick this one up. But knitting may have a steep learning curve, but once you get the basics, the possibilities are endless. Painting is such a great form for you to let those creative juices going. There really aren't any rules with it, and there's so many different mediums that you can use. Just ignore that little inner third grader who's telling you it's not very good. It's not about what it looks like, it's about how you feel while you're doing it. Scrapbooking. Now this is one that I absolutely love. When I was sick those several years ago, scrapbooking was probably one of my biggest escapes, and sometimes I couldn't do it for very long, and other days I would find that I would go on a 12-hour marathon. It got to the point where I started scrapbooking for other people because I ran out of my own. The benefit with scrapbooking isn't just a great creative outlet. One of the great things with this, and I'm going to encourage this as an organizer, is it's helping you to declutter because you're going through your photos. Segueing from scrapbooking, card making. Oh, I love making cards, and it's something I've gotten away from. I really want to get back into it again. If any of you are part of a card making group, please leave a comment below because I would love to get back into this again. But card making is great because if you already have a lot of these paper supplies laying around, you already have it to just start making something super creative. And an added bonus, when you make a card, you can send it out and totally make somebody else's day. Pinterest is a craft all by itself. It is such a wealth of information. You can get ideas on here. You can learn techniques. It leads you to other people's websites. So honestly, sometimes if I don't have the energy to do a craft, I don't have the time, I can dream about things that I want to make someday and just surf Pinterest for about an hour. And when I leave, oftentimes I have the same calm demeanor that I would have had if I got to sit down and do a craft. The main thing I want to say about these, there are so many different crafts out there. I probably barely scratched the surface. There's woodworking, there's waxing, there's quilling. There are so many crafts. I just tried to touch on a couple where I know they're easy to find supplies. Oftentimes you can find them at thrift stores if you're on a budget. But I wanted to also find crafts that weren't going to be laborious for you physically, so that if you are having a rough day, even coloring is something that you should be able to do just for a few minutes to try and make you feel better. But something I'd like to ask you to do is, if one of these is new to you and appealing, please watch a couple of the YouTube tutorials first. And here's why. I want to make sure that if you can sit through a couple tutorials and still find it interesting, then go ahead and buy some supplies. But if you see something that you think is interesting and you buy the supplies and then you realize that you hate it, you've wasted money. So if you can't sit through the tutorial or a couple of these where they're showing you how to make something, then you'll know that's not the right craft for you. I liken this to cooking. I love to eat. Boy, it's in my top 5s of things that I truly enjoy doing. But when I watch a cooking show and I see them mincing and chopping and then sauteing, those are things I hate to do. I don't even want to watch it in a video. So use this as a guideline before you spend any money. And one more thing, enjoy the process. The end result of this should not be the look what I made, but how it makes you feel during and after. Please leave me a comment below. I love hearing the things that you go through, and your stories are so inspiring to me. So please keep them coming. If you liked this, please click that like button and the subscribe button. Appreciate you all so much, and I will see you in the next video. Bye.